things. Drew, though, in Arizona, has a really good statement that I think would be wonderful to bookend this episode with. Is it possible to attack an idea without also attacking the person? Drew, you're live with Eric and B.
Hey, how are you guys?
Hey,
we are good.
I think the caffeine kicked in with V.
Get me talking about like graphing Pascal's wager and then follow it up with an anarchism conversation, and I'm there. Like, I don't even need caffeine at that point.
But I really appreciate this topic, though. Attacking ideas and attacking people. So what's your experience here? And let's talk about it.
Yeah, so that's something that you guys advocate for, and I appreciate the sentiment. I guess for a little bit of context, I would subscribe to some form of determinism.
Okay.
So we may just butt heads at some sort of axiomatic principles. But I think from my observations, people's beliefs do inform their actions. And I think the best description of a person, I think people are kind of defined by the way they behave. And so, I feel like a person's beliefs almost in some way entail who they are, right? So if you attack someone's deeply held belief in my opinion, in a very direct way, you're also attacking the person. So I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
Absolutely. I feel very strongly about this. V, if there's any, I don't want to railroad you on this one because I've got a lot.
Well, I did kind of take over the last couple. I will say that if this is a response to kind of the guidelines on our Facebook rules page, which explicitly say attack the idea, not the person, I've been eyeing that one, and I've been like, why are we encouraging attacking at all? Like,
because it's needed.
No.
Okay.
Well, maybe ridicule is a better word.
Well, here's the thing. I think that we have gotten into this combative place, not on our own. This is like a larger systemic thing that is perpetuated by the people attacking not Christianity, that this has to be an attack. And that arguing and saying you are wrong is an attack. And it's not.
Nope.
At least not when I do it. I mean, when some people do it, yeah, it's an attack. Like, sure. it's a you are wrong, you're stupid, go away, whatever. But the idea that you can accurately and incisively diagnose a problem in someone else's worldview or belief is not, by definition, an attack. And so I feel like the problem I have with the attack the idea, not the person, is not the idea people are their ideas. It's, I don't think attack is a good word to use regardless. And I'm wondering, would you push back as hard if the word attack was different, if it wasn't as inherently negative and aggressive?
Myself, yeah, maybe ridicule is a better word to use. And I certainly do think that some ideas deserve ridicule.
Mm-hmm.
So
that answers your question.
Okay, go for it. You go.
Okay,
take us out, Eric.
Drew, there are a couple of pieces here. The one that I want to get out of the way first, because it's quick and easy, is that in my observation of the Christian faith that I grew up in and have saw all around me and continue to see around me, there's this idea of continuity. And understanding that can help you understand how a lot of people of faith get really, really offended when you attack a statement. And that is because there's this cultural, if this person was right yesterday, they're more likely to be right today. And so if somebody was wrong about something in the past, then to them, they're more likely to potentially be wrong about something in the future. And so being kind of having this continuity of rightness is valued in a lot of those communities. And so in that way, it's not just about the singular idea that you're challenging, you're also challenging their authority to be correct tomorrow. And I think that the investment there that a lot of people have in, communities of faith has to do with that. And so I feel like if we recognize that, it can help us, recognize where a lot of that problem is. But again, just like ideas, someone's being continuously correct or incorrect doesn't have to do with that person. I think that I want to recognize first, Drew, that you're right in that a lot of people view themselves as their ideas. And when you challenge their ideas, they view it as a challenge to themselves personally. Here's my response to that. You are not any of your ideas, because you can change your ideas tomorrow and still be you. You instead are a narrative. Your identity is a story that you tell yourself about yourself. And that continued narrative is the identity of you, Drew, and everyone watching, right? The story you're telling yourself about yourself. And the two examples that I give, I know I've given them before, but I love giving them, as the first example is, what if, Drew, I'm just going to use you as my example, okay?
Okay.
Cool. All right. I'm going to pick on you because you're here. I don't mean anything bad about it, but Drew, let's say, you prize, standing up to authority when it's necessary and doing the right thing because you know it's the right thing. And the reason one of the reasons you do that is because you have this whole memory of when you were in first grade, you raised your hand and asked the teacher, "Can I go pee?" And the teacher said, "No." And you said, "But I really got to go." And they said, "No." And so you proudly stood up and peed your pants in front of the entire class, just looking the teacher in the eye, right? You're just like, that was not okay. And that is something that you held on to. And it's something that kind of gave you strength, right? I'm the kind of person who stands up to that authority. And then as an adult, you run into that teacher at the grocery store and bring up the story. And it turns out that never happened. It turns out it never happened. What does that do to your identity? The fact that it didn't actually happen doesn't change the fact that that continued narrative had a deep impact on your view of yourself, the identity of Drew. Now, the next one has to do with abuse. If people want to skip forward 5 minutes, I totally understand. But
if you skip forward 5
warning.
minutes, it will be at the end of the show. Fair warning.
Okay.
We've got 5 minutes.
So there are, then 2 minutes. There are lots of cases, and it's something that I've experienced in my own life, of people being gaslit into going, you've always been forgetful. You've always been clumsy. You've always been this or that or the other thing. And people, I internalize that, add that to the story that they give themselves about themselves, and that becomes their identity. And so if we shift, your ideas are you to your personal narrative is you. I think that we give ourselves room to be able to challenge, as hard as it may be, the ideas we're holding, because those don't necessarily impact the narrative you have of yourself. Does that make sense? Like, it gives room to separate those things.
Okay. I think I'm following. It's probably for a different call, but I would actually have a little bit of pushback. I think if I were to change like the most foundational axioms in my worldview, to some extent, I would be a different person. So I think we might disagree there, but I'm following what you're saying so far.
Yeah, I kind of, you need to call back on that one. Let's have that conversation, Drew.
For sure.
But in the meantime, thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Bye.